So Minutes is with me now. Jung Hae claims his love amid Song Kang's alleged regrets. Is this the start of a real-life love triangle worthy of a K-drama? When Jung Hae boldly declared, "So Minutes is with me now," fans were left stunned, and Song Kang's silence only added fuel to the fire. What really happened behind the scenes? And why did Jung Hae feel the need to speak up now? Let's dive into the full story. Only here on Red Carpet Revealed. It happened in less than 5 seconds, but it shook the entire entertainment industry. At a promotional event for his upcoming drama, Jung Hae smiled gracefully as the cameras flashed. Things seemed routine, polished, professional. Until a reporter, perhaps emboldened by weeks of rumors, asked, "Are you currently dating anyone?" And Hae, usually composed and soft-spoken, didn't hesitate. He looked directly at the crowd and said with a firm, unmistakable voice, "So Minutes is with me now." The room went silent. A few stunned gasps escaped. Then the shutters fired again, twice as fast. That one sentence was all it took to ignite a wildfire of speculation, confirmation, and heartbreak. Within minutes, social media exploded. Did he just confirm it? Was that a message to Song Kang? Is this real? Fans were scrambling for answers, but none came. Not from So Minutes, not from Song Kang, and certainly not from Hae, who left the venue without another word, leaving behind a storm only he could have created. To understand the magnitude of what just happened, we must go back to a time when So Minutes and Song Kang were one of the most quietly admired duos in the industry. Their chemistry was undeniable. They starred in a romantic drama together 3 years ago. And although both denied any real-life romance, insiders knew otherwise. According to staff members from the set, Song Kang would often linger near So Minutes even after filming had wrapped. One makeup artist even claimed, he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. The pair was never officially confirmed, but fans saw the signs: matching accessories, late-night outings, stolen glances at award shows. Then, just as suddenly as the rumors started, they disappeared. So Minutes withdrew from a few projects. Song Kang seemed more distant in interviews. Speculations of a quiet breakup swirled, but with no public acknowledgement. The world moved on, until Jung Hae entered the picture. So Minutes and Jung Hae worked on a commercial together last year. At the time, it was considered nothing more than a charming coincidence. Two beloved actors sharing a screen for 30 seconds of brand endorsement. But eagle-eyed fans noticed something else: the way Hae looked at her. It wasn't the rehearsed affection of a script. It was soft, genuine, protective. Soon after, they were seen together again. This time at a private birthday party hosted by one of So Minutes' close friends. A blurry photo leaked online showed So Minutes laughing while Hae looked on with a quiet smile. The caption read, "If you know, you know." And fans did know. Though neither party confirmed anything, industry insiders began to whisper. One director commented anonymously, "There's something there. You can see it when they're together. He respects her in a way most people don't notice." Meanwhile, Song Kang's public persona started to shift. Once vibrant and flirty during interviews, he became more serious, more reflective. When asked in one press junket what love meant to him, he replied, "Love is what you regret the most when it's gone." The message was subtle, but unmistakable. As the months went by, Song Kang's silence began to speak louder than words. He never addressed So Minutes directly. His posts, thoughtful, nostalgic, and melancholic, hinted at unresolved emotions. Fans were quick to notice. One fan tweeted, "Every time Song Kang posts something sad, I can't help but think of So Minutes. Did he lose her?" Meanwhile, Jung Hae continued his low-key approach. No flashy posts, no interviews pushing romance, just quiet consistency. He and So Minutes were spotted at a small cafe in Gangnam, both wearing hats and masks. But the body language said it all. Their hands brushed. Their eyes met softly across the table. Then came the tabloid reports. An anonymous insider claimed that Song Kang had tried to reconnect with So Minutes. He had reportedly sent a long letter expressing his lingering feelings and regret over how things ended. It was unclear whether So Minutes replied. What was clear, however, was Jung Hae's awareness of it all. A fellow actor from one of Hae's recent dramas reportedly overheard him saying, "You don't fight for someone if you're unsure." I'm sure. The tension was building, and fans sensed that something big was about to happen. Silence after Jung Hae's statement was anything but peaceful. In the hours following his now infamous words, "So minutes is with me now." Entertainment outlets scrambled to confirm the news. Phone calls were made, managers stayed quiet, agencies refused to comment. The tension was thick in the air, and fans weren't the only ones demanding answers. So minutes remained characteristically calm. She made no post. She didn't delete anything. She was, as always, graceful in her silence. But sometimes, silence says everything. The lack of denial was, to many, confirmation enough. What followed was not just a trending story. It became an emotional reckoning for three of Korea's brightest stars. People weren't just reading headlines, they were choosing sides, questioning truths, and revisiting every past interaction between the trio. The narrative had shifted from rumor to revelation, and no one was safe from the fallout. Kang, for days, said nothing, but when he did re-emerge, his post was almost too poetic to ignore. A single photo of the ocean, captioned with 4 words, "Some waves never settle." Internet erupted. Some saw it as a metaphor for his emotional turbulence. Others believed it was his way of admitting what many already suspected. That he hadn't moved on. That perhaps he thought, even hoped, he still had a chance. Friends of Kang reportedly noticed a change in him. A crew member from a recent shoot described him as unusually distant. He'd always been cheerful and warm. A crew member said. But after that week, it was like something had gone missing. Behind the scenes, murmurs of tension surfaced. Some claimed that Kang had been caught off guard by Haeun's public confession. Others suggested that he and So Minutes had reconnected privately weeks earlier, and that Haeun's move was a preemptive strike to protect his position. Whatever the truth was, one thing became clear: this was no ordinary love triangle. It was a story of timing, pain, and choices. People close to So Minutes described her as torn. A stylist who had worked with her said, "She always spoke fondly of both of them, but you could tell her heart was tired, like she'd been carrying feelings too heavy for too long." Jung Hae, for his part, elaborate on his statement, but those around him began to speak in quiet tones. The director he'd worked with recently remarked, "Hae doesn't say things just to be dramatic. He said that in public, it means he's ready to fight for her, even against her past." Public's reaction remained mixed. Supporters of the new couple celebrated Haeun's courage and So Minutes' right to choose her happiness. Others sympathized deeply with Kang, believing he had simply realized too late what he had lost. The media began to unearth older clips. One resurfaced from a variety show appearance years ago, where Kang was asked what kind of woman he could never forget. He had paused for a long moment before answering, "Someone who made me laugh when I wanted to cry." Fans remembered, during their time together, So Minutes was known for her humor. Her easy, comforting presence. She had once said that she didn't like grand gestures, that she valued consistency over theatrics, which made Haeun steady. That love may call them more sense. But even so, it was clear, this story wasn't about victory or defeat. It was about heartbreak in all directions. In the following weeks, things only grew more complicated. A rumor spread that Kang had requested to be removed from a joint variety project that had originally planned to feature all 3 stars. The reason given? Creative differences. Fans speculated otherwise. Meanwhile, Haeun and So Minutes were seen at a quiet gallery exhibit in Town. No disguises this time. Walked in together. Side by side. It wasn't a red carpet, but it was just as powerful. To some, was a soft confirmation. To others, felt like a statement of closure. And what about So Minutes? She remained the calm in the storm, neither denying nor dramatizing. But in a brief interview weeks later, she said something that seemed to explain it all. When asked what love meant to her now, she replied, "Love is when someone sees the broken part of you and stays." The interviewer didn't follow up. There was no need, whether she meant Kang, Jung Hae, both, wasn't the point. The point was that this wasn't a love story crafted for fan service or social media. It was real. Messy. Complicated. Human. Perhaps that's what drew everyone to it. In the months that followed, the storm settled. Kang focused on new projects, quietly regaining his warmth. Jung Hae and So Minutes didn't flaunt their relationship, but they no longer hid. Their love, though private, felt strong. One final moment brought bittersweet closure. At an award ceremony, all three stars were in attendance. The camera caught Song Kang clapping for So Minutes as she accepted the Best Actress award. He smiled. It wasn't forced. Sad, but genuine. And then, as she returned to her seat, she passed by him without looking back. Next to her, he stood up, took her hand, and they walked out together. When the event ended, words were exchanged. None were needed. Because sometimes, in love, what matters most isn't who had your heart first, but who chooses to hold it when the world is watching.